I'm Bill O'Reilly in the Factor Follow-Up segment tonight. A new study by 3 researchers at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. It says that the American press played a major role in the Trayvon Martin, George Zimmerman case. Study points to Al Sharpton as being personally involved in the story rather than analyzing it. It also says that Fox News anchor Geraldo Rivera inflamed the story with some comments he made about hoodies. And finally, the study points to President Obama, who said if he had a son, he would look like Trayvon Martin. The study concludes that TV news drove the story in conjunction with some advocacy websites, often distorting what the facts were. Joining us now from New York, Karen Charrington, a criminal defense attorney. And from Washington, Howard Kurtz, host of Media Buzz, seen on FNC at Sunday at 11 a.m. So what did you take away from the study, Howard?
That this was barely a story even in Florida, Bill, until the Trayvon Martin family attorney and some activists pushed it into the national media, especially cable news, which feeds on these polarizing crimes, these racially charged crimes that can drive a debate day after day, and that both the left and the right played an inflammatory role here, including Sharpton, as you mentioned, who openly crusaded on behalf of the Martin family and yet was allowed to push their cause on his MSNBC show night after night.
Well, he convicted Zimmerman, Sharpton did. And that disturbed me, Ms. Charrington. Did it bother you?
Well, I mean, you have to understand that Al Sharpton is an activist. This is what he does. This is his role. So for him to be passionate about a topic such as this, I don't think anyone would be surprised. The fact that MSNBC gave him this platform, I think also they would know that this is Al Sharpton's forte. He is an activist. He brings out these issues to the public to garner support, whether it be to bring justice or to make sure that America knows what's going on.
Did it bother you as an attorney, all right, as a member of the criminal justice system, that Sharpton, with Comcast behind him, which owns NBC, all right, convicted an American on television? Did it bother you?
Well, I mean, it didn't necessarily bother me because I knew it didn't bother me because I understood and I knew where he was coming from and I knew what he was doing. And this is what media is, and this is what happens in society, unfortunately.
It disturbed me. It disturbed me that a very large corporation with a lot of power would allow one of its employees to convict somebody on television of murder. That disturbed me.
Right. Well, now, you have to understand that Comcast knows what Al Sharpton is like and knows that he's an activist.
It doesn't matter.
So
Comcast can tell him what to do. He works for Comcast.
But now, clearly Howard, they didn't tell him what to do. That's the point.
And clearly that's my problem. Now, Howard, the hoodie remark on Rivera. I'm going to stick up for Rivera. And, you know, me and Rivera, I mean, we don't agree a lot. But he made a social comment that a certain look that is embraced by young black American men, all right, drives suspicion. That's true. So I don't know what to study why they had such a beef with that.
Well, but in the context of the case, Bill, I mean, that was throwing gasoline on the fire, and it seemed to some people fairly enough because it seemed like Geraldo Rivera was blaming this 17-year-old unarmed kid for his choice of attire, and then saying somehow he had contributed to his own death. But
I haven't heard Rivera say that. Rivera didn't say that. He just said, so what? It's true. He was reporting the truth.
Well, you know, without taking sides here, white kid wearing a hoodie, would George Zimmerman have gone after him in that respect? You know, I just saw what I saw as this became such a staple on television news was the left, you know, tried to blame Zimmerman, paint him as this ogre, as this bigoted guy who wouldn't wait for the police to show up, and the right, some on the right, I should say, blaming Trayvon Martin, talking about his use of marijuana, talking about the extent of Zimmerman's injuries.
That was terrible.
And a jury acquitted him.
So both sides inflamed it. But on the hoodie thing, I want to get your take on this, Ms. Charrington. Rivera reported the truth. And Juan Williams, you know, black, confirmed it when he sees a young black male with a hoodie who crosses the street. You know, Williams is honest enough to say that. So I don't know why that was included in this study. I'll give you the last word, Ms. Charrington.
Yeah, I don't know why it was included in the study. I honestly don't know where those comments really fit in the whole case. I understand that he was trying to maybe place blame. The fact that he had on the hoodie caused him to be followed. But honestly, I don't see how the hoodie really impacted or inflamed the case at all. I think that was just his opinion. He brought his opinion to the forefront, and I don't know if that was a majority view at all. So honestly, I just don't see how his comments really inflamed the case at all, honestly.
Very interesting segment, guys. Appreciate it. Crowd Hammer on deck. Charges from a left-wing journalist.